Hello guys, and welcome back to episode 3 of my Amazon Lord of the Rings TV show races series, where we look at all the different races in Middle-earth and see which ones could be seen in Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV series. And in today's episode we are looking at the Númenóreans. So let's get into today's video. The Númenóreans were the descendants of the Edain, who were the men in the First Age who helped the elves, and as a reward for their services during the War of Wrath, the Valar gave them an island continent in the Western Sea, which became Númenor. They were also gifted with far longer life, which averaged 300 years or more, greater height and also greater wisdom. Númenor, which had been raised up by Ulmo, was shaped like a star upon the ocean, and was in between Umman and Middle-earth. These Edain reached the island in the year 32 of the Second Age. Elros, the brother of Elrond, was their first king. Now let's get on to their physical characteristics and description of the Númenóreans. Being descendants of the Edain, the men of Númenor are well bred and exceptionally strong. Most of Númenor was settled by Edain of the House of Hador, who were golden haired and tall, with fair skin and blue eyes, while the northwestern regions of the island were settled mostly by the people of the House of Beor, who were generally dark haired with grey or brown eyes. Also, few/many of the dwindling folk of Haleth had survived the ruin of Beleriand, though there is evidence that a small remnant passed over the sea to Númenor. With them brought them the last Druidian refugees that had dwelt at the mouth of Sirion. However, these died leaving the island during the time of Tir Aldarion, foreseeing the evil that would come. Then, by the downfall of Númenor, all Druidain had left Númenor. Númenóreans were also on average very tall, with 6 foot 4 inches being their average among them. Many far exceeded this height, especially Elendil himself, bearing the nickname Elendil the Tall for being over 7 feet high. One characteristic that set them apart from typical men was the longevity of their lives. Númenóreans were not immortal as the elves or Ainur. However, in gratitude for their services during the War of Wrath, as explained earlier, they were blessed with extended lifespans averaging over 300 years. Those descended from the House of Elros could live for 400 to 500 years as well. They also aged more slowly than other men. Now let's proceed on to the history of the Númenóreans. From the start, there was friendship between the Dunedain of the West and the Eldar. The White Swan ships of the Eldar brought many gifts to the Númenóreans, such as birds, trees, herbs, and many more things. Unfortunately, as time progressed, the kings of Númenor began to envy the Eldar for their immortality, and the fear of death infected the island, as the Númenóreans did not see extra long life as a gift. Later on, kings fell dead, decrepit and witless, as they hopelessly clung to their lives. They had sold the earth to the east in their wooden ships, and even glimpsed from their tall ship prows the gates of morning, which were once at the absolute east of Arda, and the place whence the sun arose. They founded many colonies in the mortal lands and Middle-earth, north and south. With the gradual creation of the colonial empire, the pride of the kings grew. The old customs were for the most part abandoned. Those that were kept out of fear of the Valar. Most of the Númenóreans distanced themselves from the Eldar, and towards the end they persecuted any who had fellowship with them. The 25th and last king, Ar-Pharazôn, was made angry by the re-emerging of Sauron in Mordor. The king sent a vast army, so large and imposing that Sauron found himself deserted by his own armies. Not a single large battle fought as well. But what Sauron could not crush with his armies, he would manipulate with his cunning mind. He prostrated himself before Pharazôn and was taken prisoner. In 3 years, the Dark Lord had gone from top priority prisoner to the king's greatest counsellor. Even the royal council almost worshipped Sauron as well. Here was the beginning of the downfall of Númenor, as Sauron was able to deceive the Númenóreans and have a special hate for the Valar. After many years, the king felt the shadow of death near, and Sauron seized his chance. He told the aging king of, quote, the giver of freedom and life, and the person Sauron was referring to was in fact Melkor. The king, desperate to escape death, turned to the worship of the first Dark Lord. At Sauron's urging, a great temple was built, and the white tree Nimloth was cut down, though not before Isildur, Armendil's grandson, escaped with the fruit of the tree. In the year 3310 of the Second Age, Sauron urged Ar-Pharazôn to take what the king desired for so long, the immortality of Aman. In 9 years, a vast fleet was made ready, and Ar-Pharazôn, almost wavering, boarded his flagship, Alcarondas, and set sail. 39 days later, Númenor met with an apocalypse. The king had landed at Aman, and the Valar had ceded guardship of Arda to Eru. Eru Ilúvatar tore Aman away from the mold, and formed the flat disk of Arda into a globe. Númenor was flooded by a great wave, and its proud towers and walls crumbled. Muriel, the White Queen of Númenor, attempted to ascend the peak of Meneltharma to escape the rising waters, but was eventually overtaken and perished. Sauron, however, was taken unawares, and his last fair form was destroyed, and as a girl he escaped. Not all the Numenoreans were killed, however. 9 ships led by Elendil, son of Amandil, escaped to the northern regions of Middle-earth, and there founded the kingdoms of Gondor and Arnor. They were not the only Dunedain to escape, however, as the race of Black Numenoreans survived far away in Harad still, as well as the rest of the Numenorean colonies. This is where we end the tale of the Numenoreans for today's video. Also, big thanks to the one Rickety all them all, which helped me heavily with my research. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Until the next video, my friends, goodbye.